The Premier is warning the state's COVID numbers could get worse before they get better. There are 18 new cases of local transmission, and most of them were in the community while they were infectious. Gladys Berejiklian says she's bracing for the numbers to go considerably higher this week. At just one school in the eastern suburbs, hundreds of students are now considered close contacts.
Unlike most of us, Kate Mulherin and her family can only leave the house for one reason.
The adults we're retesting on the 2nd of July and on the 7th of July, and the isolation ends on the 9th of July at midnight.
Provided they return 3 negative tests. For 7-year-old Finbar and 5-year-old Eamon, holidays began on Friday. But so did 2 weeks of isolation after a student at their school in Sydney's East tested positive for coronavirus.
Liam just called to me across the other side of the house holding his phone up. Have you seen it? I was like, what?
Around 500 students attend South Coogee Public. 4 are now positive. That number is expected to grow.
All students are now close contacts and must get tested and self-isolate for 14 days regardless of a negative test.
There are 18 new cases, 17 are linked. The source of one is unknown, but had been in the Bondi area. Of these cases, 12 were in the community, while infectious.
We have to be prepared for the numbers to bounce around, and we also have to be prepared for the numbers to go up considerably.
To avoid that from happening, the Health Minister wants people to get vaccinated even while in lockdown. Revealing of the 30 people who attended a house party, 24 have now tested positive. The only ones who didn't were the remaining 6 guests, who all happen to be health workers, and all of them are vaccinated.
For those who still out there think that vaccinations aren't important, they can find excuses not to have vaccinations. They can kid themselves not to have vaccinations. Short message is, get vaccinated.
Easier said than done, according to Kate Mulherin, who as a teacher isn't eligible.
Especially considering how contagious this new strand is, I think that the government really needs to rethink whether or not teachers are considered frontline workers in this.
While most are doing the right thing and staying home, others are bearing all to break the rules.
Unbelievably, we saw 2 men sunbaking naked on a beach.
Their relaxing getaway was interrupted by a deer. The men were chased into the Royal National Park and got lost.
Not only do they require assistance from SES and police to rescue them, they also both received a ticket for $1,000.
While the 2 nudists were sent home, Kate Mulherin and her family are hoping to leave in 11 days. Mark Reddie, ABC News.
And Mark Reddie is live for us tonight in Surrey Hills. Mark, the supermarket chains are cracking down on panic buying.
They sure are, Juanita. Anyone who is buying toilet paper at Coles and Woolworths will now be limited to buying 2 packets per day in response to the panic buying. Here in New South Wales, there are no other restrictions on meat or groceries, so the advice to customers is to shop responsibly.
And the list of exposure sites too just keeps growing.
Yeah, that's right. So initially it was concentrated around the eastern suburbs and inner city, but it continues to grow out west and in the south, meaning no area in Sydney is immune. Anyone who attended Domino's Pizza at Marylands, the Glen Quarry Hotel in Macquarie Fields and Black and Gold Espresso at Rosebery is now considered a close contact. So you need to get tested and immediately isolate for 14 days regardless of the result. The ABC also understands a student at Rose Bay Secondary College has now tested positive for coronavirus. Possibly more than 1,000 students are now self-isolating. Bellevue Hill Kids Club is also an area of concern. There is some good news though. New South Wales Health has now cancelled a public health warning for the food court at the T2 domestic terminal for last Thursday. Anyone with questions or concerns should visit the New South Wales Health website directly. Juanita?
Mark Reddie reporting there.